It's time for another Buccaneers Mock Draft. Casey Phillips here with senior writer and editor Scott Smith, and we are so close to the actual draft. We've been doing these every week with you and Carmen Vitale, and now hopefully it means that since we're getting a little bit closer, even more information is coming out. It looks like some of that information has led you to mixing up some things with your quarterbacks, even though we still have a trillion of them going early.
Yeah, the quarterbacks still dominate early, but I do have some of them in a different order than last time, so we'll see how that falls out and how it affects other picks. Also, the cornerbacks seem to be having more of a presence in my mocks now. I have 4 of them in the top half of the first round and 5 overall in the round. Also, one of the top receivers fell a lot farther than I expected. And for the Bucs, at the end, I was left choosing between the same guy I picked in my last mock draft and a different kind of defender. So we'll see what happens when we get to that pick.
Okay, well, let's go ahead and dive into that first section of picks, the first 8 ones. So go ahead and explain to us what changed and why about your quarterbacks.
The big change for me is I decided that the 49ers are going to want Justin Fields instead of Mac Jones. Obviously, they've been connected to Mac Jones, but my theory now is that they wouldn't have traded so much draft capital as they did if they were moving up for Mac Jones. They probably could have moved up less far to do that. I think they want to go with the ultra-talented Justin Fields this time. So you see how that changes things a little bit. We have 4 quarterbacks, but then Mac Jones, you'll have to wait a while to see where he goes. Also, big here is Atlanta at number 4. Again, I repeated the trade from last time of Denver and Atlanta trading so that Denver could get a quarterback. If that doesn't happen and Atlanta stays at 4 and either takes a quarterback or picks somebody like Kyle Pitts, that's really going to shake up the top part of this draft.
Yeah, and you have Kyle Pitts going very high, and I know it's going to be interesting to see what Cincinnati does. That 5 and 6 right there, to me, are very intriguing.
Yeah, a lot of people think, and they may be right, that Cincinnati instead will take Penei Sewell, which you see I have falling here to Detroit at 7. And if they do that, then I would expect Detroit would be more likely to take a wide receiver. So you can see how things will get mixed up really quickly depending upon what Cincinnati chooses to do right there.
Okay, let's look at the second segment of picks 9 through 16. And you mentioned at the top, those cornerbacks are a bigger role maybe than in some previous drafts you've had.
Yeah, I have 4 of them going in this segment right here. I picked Dallas having a corner every time. That hasn't changed. I think Atlanta, if they trade back, cornerback is the best value here, and they have a big need there. But the big difference here is Philly taking a cornerback. I hadn't done that before. And they take Caleb Farley, who, if you're looking at mock drafts over the last 3 or 4 weeks, has really slid because people were concerned about his back. He got a good report on that. And I just think that a team, especially maybe a rebuilding team like Philadelphia, can choose Farley. And if it does take him a little while to get on the field, that's okay.
Okay, third segment, picks 17 through 24. You finally got some edge rushers going off here, which I know is a position that some Bucs fans have been paying attention to.
Yeah, that's the beginning of the run right there, and that could make a big difference for the Buccaneers. I do have Jalen Phillips as the first one off the board. I had previously been going with Azeez Ojulari, but Jalen Phillips killed his pro day, and he's a very talented guy. But really the one that stands out here to pick is Devontae Smith. That's the guy I was talking about at the top. I mean, that's a guy you'll see in some mock drafts go 5 or 6. But if he falls after Jalen Waddle and Jamar Chase, then it could be a little bit of a lull there, because unless somebody trades up, these aren't the teams that are looking for a wide receiver. In fact, I think Chicago just takes him out of opportunity here. They could use help at a lot of spots, but they can't pass up on Devontae Smith if he falls that far.
All right, last grouping of picks 25 through 32, which of course includes the Bucs pick, but we'll get to that in a second. Tell me a couple of things that are interesting here in terms of, especially you've got a Kansas City trade with Detroit.
Yeah, what happened was when I got there, I thought Kansas City probably, they want to tackle, but I didn't love the tackles that were left. I think they could easily move down and still get the same guy that could get at 31. And then I looked at the fact that I had a number of receivers left that you're seeing right around the top of the first round, or the bottom of the first round, or the top of the second round. Guys like, the one here, Rashad Bateman, Terrace Marshall, Kadarius Toney, Rondell Moore, Elijah Moore, a lot of guys that could be at around the bottom of the first round. And I think Detroit, which passed on the receiver here and took Penei Sewell, still really needs a receiver. And they're worried about a bunch of teams before they pick again at about 9 or 10 picks into the second round, like the Jets at 34, the Falcons at 35, the Dolphins at 36, the Eagles at 37, the Bengals at 38, and maybe even the Bucs at 32 could all be in the market for a receiver there. And Detroit can see them all coming off the board if they don't make this move.
All right, and then of course, finally, we will close with the Buccaneers pick. Tell me what made you make this decision this time.
You know, when you're doing an entirely new mock draft 2 weeks later after the last one, you really want to end somewhere different when you get to pick 32, but I got there. The same guy that I picked last time, Jason Owe, was there. And if I don't pick him again in that situation, I guess I'm kind of going back on my logic from last time, which was Jason Light is talking about they'll pick the player from the 5 or 6 that they like at that spot that they think will be the best 2 years from now. And this guy has a ton of untapped potential. The Buccaneers don't have a lot of needs, can wait. I also considered like Levi Owunzurike there because I think the Bucs could still add to their defensive tackle spot or interior defensive line. And that would be a smart pick as well. But this time I just stuck with the same logic.
Okay, well, that is going to do it for us on the Buccaneers mock draft. We are so close to the draft. Stay tuned to all of our coverage leading up to it and throughout the draft on Buccaneers.com.